Hi, everyone. My name is Rochelle Chelik, Senior Product Marketing Manager for HealthStream. I'm here today with Stephanie Lambert from Zotec Partners. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for being here.
Yes, of course.
So wanted to kind of take some time today to talk through your journey with CredentialStream and talk a little bit, before we dive into that, talk a little bit about Zotec Partners in general and a little bit more about your business scope.
Yeah, so Zotec Partners has been around since 1998. We are located in Carmel, Indiana, just north of Indianapolis. We have just over 1,000 employees nationwide, and we're the largest privately held group of end-to-end revenue cycle management. So we offer intelligent coding, patient financial experience that's really kind of unmatched in the industry for more than 25,000 providers and their patients nationwide. We do process more than 120 million medical encounters annually. And so really it's our data-driven technology and our unique patient insights and our industry-leading services that kind of helped us optimize the financial capabilities for our clients. Provider enrollment makes up a portion of those services, and we provide that service for well over half of those clients. And we enroll those clients and their providers with the insurance companies for in-network reimbursement, in addition to maintaining their enrollment and keeping that up to date to ensure a seamless revenue cycle process from start to finish.
That is a lot. That's a
Yeah.
huge volume of customers, a huge volume of files floating around. So I know you guys were on a legacy solution before transferring over or migrating over to CredentialStream, but could you talk a little bit about your need for a new system? What was working, what wasn't working, and how did you all determine it was time to make the shift?
Yeah, so we had been on the legacy product, One App Pro, since about 2010 or so. And we really had maxed out all of the features with that product that we could. We were early adopters of using things like the tracking workflow and the No Pen application out there, the audit tools, the reporting. And those really changed the way that we did business with provider enrollment. But as our company grew and our clients grew, we needed to have new ways to be able to do that same work, but faster and more efficiently. So really, we started to experience a lot of lag time. There was the need for multiple licenses all the time, and the reporting just wasn't as customizable as we hoped. So those things led us to need a change.
Awesome. And then when you were evaluating softwares, how did your just decision-making process look like? And what were some of the key things that really led you guys to CredentialStream?
Yeah, so we did look at multiple vendors just to see what was out there. But we had had the partnership with HealthStream through the One App product for many years. So that had kind of stayed at the top of our list. But really, it also offered a top of the line product. Even though it wasn't necessarily just provider enrollment focused, it had such good offerings that we could customize and be flexible with that it ended up being the best fit for us. And
Awesome.
so I think, some of the reasons why that was important to us too is because it was a web-based solution. The interface was a lot faster, and we were able to have, those better reporting options. The customization with the system was even better than it had been in One App, and really the user security groups and being able to give the right people the right permissions to the system too.
Yeah, I can imagine the reporting is a huge win for your team, especially with the sheer volume of customers that you all have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you've made the decision to or to switch over to CredentialStream. What was the preparation process like moving over to implement CredentialStream? So implementation is a really big project. Change management is hard. Change is hard. So could you talk a little bit about how you and your team prepared all of the teams for this big implementation and rollout. And I'd really like for you to dig into the way that your team was able to positively excite the team about this change. You guys are a constant example that we kind of share with other customers, things like t-shirts and mouse pads and all of that. So would love for you to get into the excitement around the implementation.
Yeah, it was a really big deal to make this change. And so there was a lot going on at that time. And so we really started by just tasking kind of our core leadership group, which was about like 6 or 7 of us in the decision-making process. So we were the ones that were sitting on the implementation calls most of the time and doing a lot of the oversight and the strategy for implementing. But we did meet internally with some of our team as well as other stakeholders so that way we could loop in their feedback and opinions as we went through the process. So, I think the whole process really caused us to have to evaluate our whys. Why are we doing things the way we're doing? And is that still the best way to do it? And so we would often have kind of internal conversations after those implementation meetings to make sure we were all on the same page. And we continued to do that even post go live for up to about 6 months. And so just getting our team in the mindset that we were all learning together and to stay flexible during that time. We had a theme for our team during that time. We became the CredentialStream Adventure Team, and we sent out swag to all of our team members, just getting everybody excited about this change because it was a big deal to take the amount of data that we had in one system and migrate that somewhere else. So we really, I think, had to stay grounded and stay realistic, that it wasn't going to be an overnight change. No one was going to learn everything they needed to learn right away. It really was going to take time to learn a new system, adopt new processes, and really understand how to make it work for our business.
That's it. That's awesome. I think one of the things that stands out to me about your implementation project as well was the stakeholder involvement and having that high level leadership buy in to this project because like you've mentioned it's a huge lift and I think your organization did a great job at being able to carry the same quality of care to your customers at the same time of implementing this new product that's going to make everybody's workflows and experiences even better in the long run. Could you talk more about how you all managed resources for this project and also about what you were kind of the most worried about going into implementation for CredentialStream and realistically how long you were expecting the project to take?
Yeah. So, resource wise, I think one of the best things we did was to involve like our C-suite leadership early on in the communication so that everybody was on the same page. Because it's one thing to say we're going to make this change, and then it's another thing to actually start doing it. So I think having that constant communication and getting even more executive buy-in was really key because we did take a little bit longer than we had hoped for just because it was such a big change. So I think, we kind of branched out as time went on throughout our implementation to engage with our IT security, with our data analytics, and we ended up having to create some, API connections between CredentialStream and our proprietary software to meet some other client needs. So, I think the more we learned, the more we saw opportunities to create something that we hadn't had in the past. So it was great to involve other team members within Zotec that maybe weren't provider enrollment focused to work towards those goals. Um, I think the thing that worried us the most was really just the disruption of service to our clients. We didn't want to lose our historical data, but we were kind of in the middle of working out of both systems for a short time, and team was doing double work, and so just trying to have everybody adjust to that for a short period of time, and then still provide the same level of service to our clients. It was really important. In addition, the learning curve was pretty high compared to what we had in one app. It was a much more modern solution, which was great, but that came with its own challenges to get everybody feeling comfortable and confident out there. I think time-wise, we kind of expected things to go like maybe be done in like 4 to 6 months, which would have been pretty quick at the time for the level of data we were transferring. So it took a bit longer than that, but it was well worth the extra time and effort because we were able to have a pretty good implementation after go live where things were where they needed to be and we could just pick up and start doing the work.
Awesome. So once you guys were live, obviously, one of the biggest features or functionalities your team leverages within CredentialStream is some of the enrollment functionality. Could you talk a bit about some of the successes your team has seen related to enrollment functionality, including form completions, application processes, all of that? How has your processes been improved?
Yeah, so I think we were using a form of tracking workflow in one app, and this caused us to have to work that in a completely different way because the system was different. So, we're heavy users of workflows today. But it was the utilization of things like the payer contracts table that really had to become an essential part of our process to make workflows successful. So that was new for us, but it's allowed us to keep better track of which groups need which enrollments. And it really has created even more consistency than we had before. And I think what has really been wonderful to see is that we're really now all on the same page around what matters most for our clients and what matters most for getting provider enrollment completed. So we're able to now take all of that information and we can provide feedback and reporting very easily that we couldn't have done in the past. We can give it to clients, we can give it internally, we can give it to payers. And so, the volume of work too is then more accurately represented through that reporting. And again, we just wouldn't have had the ability to do that before.
Awesome. And one of the things you mentioned earlier was your use of NoPin in one app. Could you explain or give your insights on the transition over to Apply within
Yeah.
CredentialStream?
Yeah, so we use Apply as well. So NoPen was the old electronic application you could get through one app, and Apply through the hub now is the new version of that. And we've really customized, if you can customize it, we've done it. So we've been able to customize the Apply application for what we need from our providers, in addition to customizing the workflows too. So any place that we can do that, we have taken the opportunity to do so. And it helps us streamline what we're asking clients and providers to give to us. But yeah, the Apply portal and everything we can gather out there works really well because it's something you can send to the provider or you can send to their admin, but everybody sees the same information. So again, just creating some transparency about what you need and what you're asking for always helps.
Awesome. And then another thing you'd mentioned before was, or one thing you mentioned before that drew you all to CredentialStream was around the reporting functionality. So could you talk about a bit about how your team leverages the Bolt reports and where that information gets disseminated, kind of the lift that's involved with that, and any customization you guys have leveraged for Bolt reporting?
Yeah, so we do use Bulk quite a bit. I mean, not just for running ad hoc reporting, but through automated reports. It helps us just monitor things in a way that we wouldn't have been able to do before. So it allows our leadership to kind of have like an at a glance view about what's going on, as well as like the top down process so that we can spot errors more quickly. And so we really spent a lot of time at the beginning after our implementation, really focusing on, well, what do we need? How often do we need it? Who's asking for it? And how to create that. And so I think having a few experts within our team who know how to make those things has been key because not everybody can learn all of those things. And it's a pretty complicated, high touch process where you really need to know the tables and the structure of the system to make that work. And if you have one variable that's not working, you're not going to get the output you want. So I think, having some subject matter experts within the department that specialize in some of those areas like Bolt can be really key to, the team's success in getting what they need.
Think that's awesome. And so I'm sure through the reporting, you all have been able to identify some financial benefits of making the switch over to CredentialStream. But anything you'd like to touch on there from your
Yeah, I
experience?
mean, I think at a general level, we've seen days in AR go down. We've seen the time that charges are on hold pending provider enrollment go down because we can get the work done more quickly because we have the steps clearly outlined in a workflow. And we're able to now answer those kinds of questions where we just wouldn't have been able to do that before. And when days in AR go down and time in charges on hold go down, that only means, more revenue collected more quickly for our clients and providers so that they can do the things they need to do for patients.
Yes, yeah, we are all on that mission of faster time to revenue and being able to make things smoother for you all, which obviously leads to better quality of care at the end of the day. So it's been really great chatting. Of course, there's so much more that CredentialStream offers more than what we just chatted about here, but are there any particular features or upcoming opportunities that you all see as a big, opportunity to grow?
Yeah, so we recently started utilizing the Verify Now features to automatically check for expirables and revalidations. And so we're really starting to look at how do we automate that at a larger scale, maybe using agentic AI and more API integrations as much as possible. So because our clients really operate independent of one another, this is really a unique challenge for us and it's pushing the limits of how CredentialStream can operate. But since we're, highly involved with HealthStream and we get opportunities to share about our experience, I think that gives us a voice to be able to speak into future enhancements that really would benefit the entire user community. So that's kind of where we're heading next.
Awesome. Love that. And always love your team's collaboration in the Thrive community as well. It's always such a great place to see so many active users just collaborate, bounce ideas off of each other, and share best practices as well. So thank you, Stephanie, for being with me today, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you. Take care.